What if Pandora just shrugged and walked away from that box? Picture this. She's sitting in her garden, sees this mysterious container the gods left behind, and thinks, nah, I'm good. That single moment of restraint would have created the most mind-bending alternate reality in human history.
Imagine waking up in a world where your biggest worry is deciding which perfect sunset to watch tonight. The box sits unopened in Pandora's house, gathering dust like an old decoration nobody thinks about anymore. Inside it, all of humanity's potential suffering remains trapped. Disease, hatred, war, heartbreak, all locked away like prisoners in a cosmic jail cell. In this reality, humans live in perpetual spring. Picture walking through cities where every building is surrounded by gardens that never wilt, where the air always smells like jasmine and rain. Nobody gets sick because illness is still trapped in that box. A common cold would be as foreign to these people as growing wings would be to us. Hospitals don't exist because nobody knows what pain feels like.
Death happens, but it's completely different. Imagine your grandmother at age 90 simply saying, "I think my story is finished now," and peacefully drifting to sleep surrounded by flowers and loved ones, her face serene as if she's about to have the most wonderful dream. No fear, no suffering, just a gentle transition like autumn leaves falling. Now picture human relationships in this world. Jealousy is locked in Pandora's box, so imagine a romance where betrayal is literally impossible. Your partner could spend all day with their attractive co-worker, and instead of feeling suspicious, you'd probably just feel happy they're making new friends. Divorce doesn't exist because hatred can't escape its prison. Families gather for dinner where everyone genuinely celebrates each other's successes without a hint of envy. Politics becomes surreal. Picture government meetings where everyone actually wants what's best for everyone else because greed and power hunger are trapped away. Elections would be more like, who wants to organize the community garden this year, rather than cutthroat battles for control. Laws would focus on optimizing happiness rather than preventing crime, because crime would be unthinkable. But here's where it gets weird. Imagine trying to create art in this world. What would Shakespeare write about when there's no Romeo and Juliet dying tragically, no ambitious Macbeth, no jealous Othello? Picture poets struggling to find metaphors for heartache when heartache doesn't exist. Musicians would only know how to compose cheerful melodies because nobody has ever felt the deep melancholy that creates blues or the anger that creates punk rock. Literature would be bizarre. Every story would go, once upon a time, everyone was happy. They remained happy. The end. No conflict, no character growth, suffering, no dramatic tension. Imagine trying to explain the concept of a villain to someone who has never experienced malice. It would be like describing the color purple to someone born blind. Picture the gods watching this unfold. Zeus sits on Mount Olympus, realizing his revenge plot completely backfired. He wanted to punish humans, but instead created paradise. Ares, the god of war, has nothing to do because humans don't even understand the concept of fighting. He probably spends eternity playing board games with himself, growing increasingly bored. Hades rules an underworld that nobody fears. It's just another pleasant place where people go to rest. But imagine the psychological weirdness of this perfect world. These humans have never felt sad. So, do they really understand happiness, or is it just their default state, like breathing? Picture trying to explain to them what missing someone means. They'd look at you confused, because separation anxiety is locked away. Love exists, but it's shallow, like enjoying a nice sunset rather than the deep, complex love forged through supporting each other through hardships. Imagine what happens when humans in this world occasionally hear strange whispers on the wind, fragments of words that escaped before the box was sealed. They hear cancer, betrayal, war, but these are just meaningless sounds. Picture them sitting around campfires, trying to guess what these mysterious words could mean, like trying to solve riddles in a dead language. Now, picture the box itself, sitting in Pandora's house for centuries. Dust accumulates on top. Sometimes visitors ask, "What's in there?" And Pandora says, "Oh, just some old stuff the gods left behind, never bothered to look." Inside, you can imagine all of humanity's potential for growth writhing around like caged animals. Courage has nothing to overcome, so it paces back and forth. Resilience sits in the corner, getting weaker because it's never been exercised. Wisdom remains infantile because it only develops through mistakes, and mistakes are impossible here. Imagine the tragic irony. Humans are protected from everything that could hurt them, but they're also protected from everything that could make them truly human. They're like beautiful dolls in a perfect dollhouse, safe but somehow hollow. They never experience the triumph of overcoming obstacles because there are no obstacles. They never feel the deep satisfaction of helping someone through pain because nobody ever hurts. Picture what happens after 1,000 years of this. Do these perfect humans start feeling a strange emptiness they can't name? Do they begin unconsciously creating problems just to feel alive? Maybe they start having contests over who can grow the most unremarkable vegetable just to introduce some form of competition into their lives. Perhaps they invent elaborate, pointless rituals simply to add complexity to their smooth existence. Imagine them looking at that dusty box and starting to wonder, for the first time in centuries, what if one day a descendant of Pandora stands in front of it and feels something they've never experienced before? Curiosity. But curiosity is supposed to be in the box, trapped away. This creates a paradox. If they feel curious about the box, maybe the box is already leaking and their perfect world is slowly cracking. The ultimate question becomes, is this paradise, or is this the most beautiful prison ever created? These humans never suffer, but they also never truly live. They exist in eternal contentment, but never experience the joy that comes from overcoming sorrow, the love that deepens through weathering storms together, or the wisdom that only develops through making mistakes and learning from them. If imagining this alternate paradise has made you question whether our imperfect world might actually be the better deal, don't let this thought experiment end here. Hit that like button if this mind-bending mythology made you see human nature in a completely new way. Share this with someone who loves deep philosophical rabbit holes, and subscribe with notifications on, because we're just getting started exploring the profound questions hidden inside ancient stories that are way weirder and more thought-provoking than you ever imagined.